Welcome to the Conigliaro Insight Podcast, where we give opinion on insight on all topics galore. I'm Keegan, and welcome to episode number 4 of season 1, which is all about motivation and inspiration. So, last episode, I had my good friend Callum Monteith on the show. We went into detail about high school versus college. Callum would mention how he goes to a 4-year university while he does Greek life, other extracurriculars, and how I go to a community college. So we basically just went into detail about how each of us stay motivated basically when college becomes tough. So if you didn't get a chance to listen to that episode, please go do that. It's a great episode. Now, today, Callum unfortunately cannot join us, but fan favorite of everyone, Marius is back on the podcast today. So, hey, I didn't kick him off. So, Marius, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm sorry that you couldn't make it last episode, but had to branch out a little bit. But yeah, you're back now, which is good. Because, as we all know, everyone loves you on the podcast. And, again, thank you so much again for being on the podcast.
Yeah, no problem.
So, before we get into today's episode, I hope everyone's doing well out there. Please keep the smiles on your faces. Take care of yourselves. I love you guys. Marius loves you guys as well. And if you're not doing as well, I hope this podcast cheers you up. Know that you're loved by me and everyone around you. So, let's get down to business, shall we? So, today's topic at hand is going to be about self-care. So, we had briefly mentioned in episode 1 how we both stay motivated and tied self-care together. So, now today is just going to be all about self-care. And obviously, to start off, it is very, very important to take care of yourself, like I had mentioned about a minute ago, about how I love you guys and all that. Anyways, but yeah, self-care is very important for sure. What would you say about that, Marius?
Yeah, I agree. It's really important to take care of yourself. Yeah, because it matters on like a daily basis as far as like what you do to like keep your whole life in balance, and yeah, and even your emotions. All that really plays a huge factor in your everyday life.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. And I really think that it was super important when we were locked down in March of 2020 through, it was like May or June, I want to say.
Yeah, something like that.
So, like I said, so yes, it's very important to make sure you're good with mental health, make sure that you're taking care of yourself, all that stuff. So, what were some things that you had done some things that you had done during that lockdown phase to make sure your mental health was really good?
Yeah, so some of the things I did to start off, for one, I tried to get into like home workouts here in my sunroom, and I did some other things like going for walks in my neighborhood, runs, also even at the park too, and just try to do some even like car meet stuff with my friends. That was really what I did. That was what helped me at least just stay, at least somewhat mentally stable for the time being.
And if you did meet up with friends, obviously it was social distanced.
Yep.
Obviously.
Yep.
But yeah, I actually went on a lot of morning walks. I would take my dogs just around the neighborhood. And then there were some days where I would ride my bike. Luckily, I don't know how it wasn't broken, because I had to pump up the tires immediately because I hadn't used it in so long. But I went on bike rides. I went on some walks. I went on some jogs. And taking the dogs out in the morning, especially in the springtime, like in that
oh yeah
season, it was beautiful weather, especially at like 9 a.m. You would just walk around the neighborhood with the dogs. It was absolutely beautiful weather.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and I also played a lot of, and I still play a lot of guitar. Marius, I know you're smiling because you know that I played a lot of guitar, and I played in a band back in the day. Not back in the day, but you guys know what I mean. I'm still young. I'm not, this isn't like the 80s or anything. This is 2022, for Christ's sake.
Yep.
Anyways, but yeah, I played a lot of guitar, and I've got my acoustic here that I got for, I think it was Christmas of 2019, I think is when it was. But if you guys want a little tune, just don't ask me why I played Ronnie James Dio on the guitar, on an acoustic guitar. You guys can call me crazy for that. But I was also going to mention that tying playing guitar together and self-care, well, not self-care, but like kind of like stuff with like making sure that your brain is in the right mindset and just like overall like your mind is good. I actually did some research right before we recorded, and I found out that the tuning that my guitar is in, it's like a standard tuning, which is EAD GBE for all you guitar players out there, which we are going to mention a lot of music stuff coming up very, very soon in season 2, so stay tuned for that. But anyways, the tuning that I'm in, I pitched it down a bit to 432 hertz, which I have this written out right here. It says, according to music theory, a 432 hertz is mathematically consistent with the universe. This is known as Verdi's A, named after Giuseppe Verdi, a famous Italian composer. Music tuned to 432 hertz is softer and brighter and is said to provide greater clarity and is easier on the ears. And another little reading is 432 hertz has an excellent influence on spiritual development of listeners. For more inner peace, listen to 432 hertz because it gives more clarity than 440 hertz. Researchers claim that they feel calmer, happier, and more relaxed when playing and listening to 432 hertz. So I did that a lot because it's it's just easier, like this just said, it's easier on the brain. Like 440, it's more like upbeat, you know. If you listen to like hair metal songs that are in 440 hertz in comparison to 432 hertz, you can hear a hell of a difference right there. But it's very much more soft on your brain. And there's also a bunch of, if you just go on YouTube and just search up like 432 hertz like classical music, it's I don't know about you guys, but for me, I could definitely fall asleep to that, especially like Mozart or Bach or anything in that hertz frequency. Absolutely I could, because it's just so calming, you know. It's just super calming. But yeah, so that was just my little guitar thing. I just wanted to do that just for the hell of it. So hope you guys liked it. If you do, cheers. Anyways, so what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to give self-care tips. Marius and I are both going to give self-care tips, but we also have a list of 30 absolutely free self-care ideas when you're on a budget. Now, that is exactly what it says, so don't come at me for reading off of it. Anyways, so shout out to our professor at the college that we go to, because she put this out in an email right before our break and just made sure that we were, staying good with mental health, that we were all doing good. And we've also both had professors. We actually had a professor this past semester, or in this semester, but during an 8-week course that he checked in with us for sure. Like I think it was like towards the end of the course, he had written up emails to every single one of his students saying, "Hey, professor checking in. Hope you're doing well. Is there anything that I can do?" And I actually emailed him back and was like, "Hey, I really appreciate that you checked in on us. Like, it's definitely been a little difficult with transitioning from online to in-person and then going to like completely online. You gotta, keep your balance, you keep your work in balance, all that stuff." And he emailed you as well, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was very nice. So teachers and professors like that, we salute you guys.
Yes.
So I'm gonna read off a couple of the tips on the sheet, and then we're going to tell our 3 basically honorable mentions, but we both have one that we absolutely abide by, like as our favorite, and then 3 more that are just like, yeah, we like them, but they're not as liked. I mean, they're all liked, but like not as much as the number 1. So the first one is walk a local trail. So that kind of just ties together with like going on, like doing exercise, right? You say that too?
Yeah.
And there's other stuff such as finding new playlists, which, with music and all that, there's a few that kind of tie together, but we're going to keep going on. So next one is writing or doodling in a journal. I don't personally do it because I have chicken scratch artwork. But yeah, just writing and doodling. I mean, it can help for some people. I don't know if it helps for you, does it?
Yeah, I mean, I used to do like, kind of like that thing, but I don't do it anymore. That was like a few years ago.
Yeah. And then the next one is washing or changing your sheets. Okay, if you don't do that shit, please do it every single week because you're disgusting.
Yeah, or at least like a few weeks out. Or
right.
Like that. Yeah.
And pillowcases too,
pillowcases,
obviously.
Yep.
Pillowcases I do way more frequently than the sheets, for sure.
Yeah, because that's right where your head is. It needs to be clean.
Duh, obviously. This is now a health class. No, I'm just kidding, guys.
Yeah.
So, next one is finding a new book at the library. I don't read anymore. I just don't find the time for reading. I know you do sometimes, right?
Yeah, I read a lot of like online articles.
That. Like, I'll read like sports articles because you guys know I'm very into sports. I don't pay attention to like news articles as much unless it pops up on like my phone from like ABC or Washington or whatever the hell it is. But yeah, so the next one is eating outside in the sunshine. That's actually a good one because especially in the springtime weather during the lockdown phase, it was actually really nice to just go out like a screen porch or even just outside and eat food out there because get your daily dose of sun, eat. It's a very good combination right there. Next one, follow inspirational accounts on social media. And I'm going to tie this because we both mentioned mentality in episode 2, right? I think is what it was.
Pretty sure.
So following inspirational accounts. I know Marius follows mentality. I obviously follow mentality as well. Great account. Any inspirational account. Yes, I absolutely follow them. Next one, close your eyes and breathe deeply. Who doesn't do that, right?
Right.
Who doesn't? Okay. Next one, I don't do. It's dance like no one's watching. No, I'm out. I'm out. I will like sometimes I'll act like Steve Vai. Like when I was in the band, I acted like Steve Vai with like his facial expressions and all that. If you guys don't know who Steve Vai is, please do your research. And he is going to be mentioned in season 2 of the podcast coming up very soon. So please do your research before we mention Steve Vai again on season 2. But yeah, I mean, I'll dance around and like play guitar. I mean, who doesn't do that, right? What guitarist doesn't? But just dancing around, I don't do that. Yeah, I just don't do it. Yeah. I have embarrassing dance moves, is what I'll say for sure.
I mean, at the end of the day, who cares how you dance?
Okay, well, yeah, self-confidence, obviously, but I'm not confident in my dancing. I will say that for damn sure. Anyways, next one is list the things that you're grateful for. I do think of things that I'm grateful for, but I just don't list them, like write them down. What do you write them down?
No, I just kind of like just think about them. Yeah, that's really about all I do.
Yeah, so same thing.
I mean, it works.
So next one, yeah, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I was finished there.
Okay, and the next one, say positive affirmations. Absolutely, you gotta think positively. Next one is drink a full glass of water. If you don't do that, I mean, I don't want to sound bad, but we all know the bad stuff. We're not going to get into we're not going to do that. But you should obviously drink a full glass of water every single day.
Yeah, at
drink
least.
multiple full glasses of water every single day. That's what you need to do.
100%.
Yeah, it keeps you healthy. Next one is declutter your home. I mean, if you guys see the LED, if you guys are watching on the YouTube channel, you guys can see the LEDs. I actually did this as a project for my house. We also did a bunch of stuff in the house, all that stuff. That's a different story, but if you know me, you know that that my family basically did new projects and all that. So, and declutter basically, 15 is learn something new. That's obvious. You learn stuff in school.
Right.
Right?
And even who doesn't? Skills too. Yeah.
Right. And then 16 is find room to stretch or do yoga. I actually did do, and just doing exercise in general, just find room to do it. Next one is watch a funny video with a friend. I mean, people send TikToks to each other and funny Instagram reels and shit like that. I mean, yeah, do that for sure. Next one, listen to favorite songs. Who doesn't? If you don't like music, then then please listen to music. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
All right. Some other ones that we're gonna mention before we go into our favorites is making a vision board on Pinterest. I know my sister does that for sure. Donate items that you don't use anymore. I do that all the time. Volunteer to local shelter. I used to do that a lot. I did, and you definitely meet a lot of people that will have very great impacts on you in life for sure. The next one, call someone you love. Duh, you should.
Yeah, you should.
And then spend time with an inspiring person or inspiring people. That's what you should do. You need to be around friends. They're good for your health, basically, your mental health.
Yeah, that's true.
Preparing a delicious and healthy meal. Absolutely. You got to stay healthy. Giving a hug to someone. Yes, I am a hugger. So that is very important to me. Watching the sunrise, sunset, and clouds. Just go out and, even drive around and watch it, Refresh a morning routine. Sure, yeah. I mean, if your morning routine's not what you want it to be, change it, Do whatever you want to do. And then we have 3 more. Perform a random act of kindness. Guided prayer and meditation. Yes, you should do that. And make a list of inspiring quotes. So those are the 30 right there. And I know we went into a bunch of detail, but now what we're going to do to basically close it off is we're going to give each of our 3 honorable mentions, quote unquote, and then we're going to give our number 1. So Marius, I'm going to let you do the honors. What's your first honorable mention quote from that list?
Yeah, so my first one is listen to my favorite songs, because I think that, at least for me, it greatly influences my mood overall throughout the day, depending on what I'm doing and just how productive I am. This helps me even feel better, depending on the music type. But yeah, I think that's probably one of my most favorites for sure.
Yeah, oh yeah, and I had that on there as well. I mean, I listen to the music I love. I listen to AC/DC, Aerosmith, Rat, Whitesnake, Motley Crue, 80s music, obviously, for you people out there. But just listen to stuff that you love, Just make a playlist even, or just put the whole thing on shuffle. Put your entire music library on shuffle. And I guarantee that you will be in a better mood, and it's just fun to listen to music, right? I mean, who doesn't love music?
Exactly.
Yep. So since we both had that one, I'm going to go into a next one of mine, which is give a hug to someone, which I had mentioned on the list, but it is definitely one that I absolutely love because like I said, I'm someone that likes physical touch, and giving a hug is it's affirmation, sure, like confidence booster. I mean, I guess for some people, but for me, it's just it's nice to get a hug, especially from relatives, even friends too. It's just nice to get a hug for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
So, what's your next honorable mention? Your second one?
Yeah, so my second one is refresh my morning routine, and I think that one's really nice because if you're struggling in the mornings to get up out of bed, or if you need a refresh just to kind of improve things going on in the morning, I think that'll greatly help you out so you can get more productive in the mornings if you need to, and just get overall a better start to your day. And I think that'll that's definitely why it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's a good one right there. And with that, for me, I tried to get up. I don't remember what time, but I tried to get up at the same exact time every single day. I know that for sure. Kind of just set myself on a schedule, because with staying up during, when we were off for 2 weeks from school, my sleep schedule definitely got really screwed over for sure. So it's very important, like you had said, to keep refresh your routine if you need to, and obviously just keep your routine in general. So I've technically mentioned 2 since we both had listened to favorite songs and give a hug to someone. So my third honorable mention is watch the sunrise, the sunset, or the clouds. Absolutely. You just see the sunset, you see the pink, orange skies, all that stuff, even in the morning times, or you could just see rainbows as well after it rains. It's very soothing to me, to my eyes at least. What would you say?
Yeah, I fully agree with that. Yeah, I always like to look at that, especially when I'm driving, for example, or just outside. Yeah, it's really nice.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just something for me that it's kind of like an anxiety. What's the word for it? It brings my anxiety down, basically.
Yeah, it just helps calm you down, I'd say.
Yeah. So what's your last honorable mention, right? That's your this should be your last one.
Yeah, so actually, I'd say for that one, I'd actually say the same thing as that.
Oh, okay, yeah. So,
Yeah.
so you had the same exact one. Nice.
Yeah, I did, surprisingly.
Surprisingly. Hey, coincidence, right?
Yep.
Oh, well. But yeah, so now to close it off, we're going to give our top of the list. So what is your number one on the list? What's your number one?
Yeah, so the number one would be follow inspirational accounts on social media, and I like that one a lot because it just helps boost your overall mood sometimes throughout the day if you just need a break going on from life or something like that.
Sure.
Or if you just need the positivity, that helps out a lot too. Just to see like quotes and things like that, just it helps out a lot. It really does.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good one right there. And like we had mentioned, we both follow Mentality. If you go on Twitter, they have very, very inspirational quotes for sure.
Yeah, they do.
And like even outside of Mentality, there's obviously hundreds of thousands of like motivating, inspiring social media platforms, pages. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but Mentality obviously. But like, there's so many. Like, you can just follow them. They're full of like even celebrities saying like famous quotes and all that for sure.
Yeah, that's
true. That was a good one. So my number one on the list is spend time with an inspiring person. I can't stress it enough. Friends are like a balance in your life, for sure. You need to be able to spend time with not only friends, but also family is a very important balance to your overall self in life as well. Tomorrow's not granted. You got to spend time with them. Even if you're pissed off at them, like, you can't take anything for granted, obviously.
right.
Because at the end of the day, they're your family, they're your friends. Like, they're here on this earth for only such amount of time, hopefully for the longest of time, but you need to really make sure that you're spending the quality time with them for sure by giving them a hug, going on like car rides or like on trips with them. Just spending quality time is definitely the key to great mental health for sure. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, it's just very important to make sure you're balancing that out. Spending time with family, spending time with friends, following, like you had said, social media accounts that are very inspiring, giving hugs, listening to songs to like wind down, downtime for yourself. It's obviously very important to do that. So yeah, those I really liked your list of honorable mentions and your top one. Those are all very, very good. So Marius, thank you so much for being on the podcast today and giving your insight on self-care. I really appreciate you being on here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And if you like this episode, please share it with your friends and family. And you can also give this podcast a 1 to 5 star rating on Apple Podcasts. And you can also give that a follow while you're at it. And like I said, you can listen on Apple Podcasts. You can also listen on Anchor, Spotify, and you can watch each episode as a YouTube video. And also, you can follow the podcast on Instagram at Conigliaro Insight Podcast. Tune in every single Sunday for new episodes. And until the next episode, make sure to take care of yourselves. I love you guys. Marius loves you guys as well. Please be kind to one another. Love one another as well. And have an amazing day, everyone. Cheers.